Good morning, everybody. Warren J here with another War of the Visions video, and it is Sunday afternoon. We're going to do a weekend update, another special edition. I'm joined by Quistist here, former leader of visipoor, to try to give us a little perspective on War of the Visions and War of the Visions kind of at that top, at that end game level, specifically for Guild Wars. So Quistist, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Happy Father's Day, and thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Happy Father's Day to me, you, and all of the fathers out there. We're going to touch on that a little bit. We're going to talk a little father talk here in a bit, so look forward to that. But I definitely wanted to start with a follow-up from last week's video where Reingold and I were talking about our inability to sustain the effort to be kind of in the top of Guild Wars. So you, as the former leader of visipoor, visipoor is widely regarded as the best guild, the top guild in War of the Visions. Can you just give your perspective on what it was like to not only be in that guild, but be the leader of that guild?
Sure, no worries. So overall, I did not start as an OG member of visipoor. I was part of other guilds that to be like what you call it. Seventh Heaven, which became Honeybee Inn. There was Zodiac, which became Seven Sea Lions, and then I landed in visipoor after I left Honeybee Inn. So from that point on, I was helping out as one of the members. Loved to play the game. It's locked down in COVID, so I was able to do things such as like looking at scouts and doing reports, and then learn to coordinate. And then from then on, this just became one of my daily activities. And then until the one day, like a few months in later, our leader Dreda said that, you know, I'm moving on from this game. Why don't you take over Quistist? And I did. That point on, I was lucky to keep most of the core of the people that played with Dreda. He was a wonderful leader. And that point on was just maybe from just taking a little bit from my real life profession, just process improvement, trying to make things better and make things more fun for people. We in visipoor, at least myself, my philosophy was never really about winning. It was more about just having fun and doing the right thing and just kind of improving the process. For example, in high-end Guild War, everybody has to have, like, let's say, a defense that's typically homogenous to everybody else. It was one of my responsibilities to make sure that we could find the members that could either meet that wall, and then members that would make sure that have the right settings and toggles and equipment. So, you know, when you're up against something, it's going to be not as simple or clear for somebody else to clear it, because if, let's say, you have, let's just say, 30 teams, they're all one and the same, typically your enemy guild would have the tools or not to beat it. And if, let's say, you, in another scenario, you have like 10 teams of one element, 10 of another, 10 of the third one, you're going to be way easier able to take those defenses apart because they're not homogeneous.
So, for people who maybe don't know, like if there's some people who are lost in terminology here a little bit, typically speaking, when you're running a high-end guild, you run a wall, which is this homogeneous defense that you're talking about. But you don't typically require your guild's offenses to run the whole same offense. You kind of let people, run whatever they want as long as it's good, or you might have some requirements. But because offenses are varied, like there's a lot of different elements, different types of offense. If you have a single wall, a single team that the enemy needs to clear, say it's Earth. Well, what if 10 people in the other guild are running lightning offense teams? Hey, there you go. Because you're all Earth. Essentially what you're saying is because you're all Earth in this easy case, those 10 lightning teams for the enemy on offense are going to struggle. Whereas if you let your guild, have 10 earth teams and 10 dark teams and 10 light teams, now those lightning teams on the enemy offense have a nice, easy pivot away from your earth that they would not have had you been homogenous. That's basically what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Sorry, I kind of went way onto the deep end already. I will try to make this back down to the level.
Sometimes people, I think there's just people, especially newer players, who don't realize that is one of the, like, having that wall where every defense on your guild is the same. I don't think they understand just intuitively why that is so effective. And then I don't even know that they realize that's the thing you can do to just ramp up your guild's difficulty to get cleared.
Right, definitely. And actually, it wasn't even an invention of visipoor. Back in the day, there was another guild. This name is called Cetra. I think you may be aware of them. They were a long time ago. They started, like, the first 160 matches, they were 150 and 10. That was their record back then, and we were up and coming, top 10, top 5, and again, just a bunch of dolphins, and you have some free-to-play just having fun. And I guess what kind of led us to our path on becoming number one was the amount of players that would willingly put their time and just play this game and have fun and enjoying and sharing those results out. Before Cetra, before that time, walls weren't a thing. It's basically run wherever you wanted, as long as it worked, It worked. And one day, this day, I think it was December 2020, we saw a wall of Agries, Kane, and Little Leela, like Halloween Leela. That was literally 30 of them copy-pasted cookie cutter. It's like, wow, I've never seen this before. And we lost that day because you know what? We weren't ready to fight 30 of one team. Yeah. So that was the basis of how walls came. And then you know what? If you want to do walls, we can do walls too. And then again, kind of what you call it, the cat and mouse game of kind of, you know what, making things work, what be most resistant and resilient against, let's say, enemy offense teams. So a lot of that time would be done in mocking before Guild War starts. We weren't the guild that ever mocked during Guild War. We typically cleared our enemies within 2 hours, maybe one, depending on how fast we wanted to. We didn't feel like that was an advantage for us. That wasn't how the game should be played. In JP, the Guild War is 2 hours, and that's how we were trying to around that time. And we have people in Asia, we have people in Europe. We just couldn't keep them up, whatever, waiting until the last minutes to hit. Even with proxy, we never did full proxies. We just let people build their teams and have fun and have it. Again, we relied on our wall, so whatever happens, as long as our wall wasn't cleared and you could hit, you could chain, or just basically start on an open team to a fresh team or something like that. That's all we really needed.
Well, and I think that's the thing is, if you're going to be at the top of the game, you need to enjoy being there, or it is work. And as soon as any game, and I will parrot this advice every time I get a chance. If you are playing a video game and it feels like you're going to work, you should probably just instead go to work and make money instead of working for negative money, which is playing games. Because don't spend money in a game to hate it. That's weird. That's strange. So I think it's important to let people on offense in Guild Wars. Would it be better to have somebody tell, would it be better? And I'm doing air quotes. I know you can't see my camera, Quistist, but I'm doing, would it be better to actually have somebody tell people what offenses to run based on the current data of defenses that are getting run on average? Sure, it probably would. But then people aren't getting to use, maybe somebody's just a huge fan of Celis and wants to play water. Maybe their thing is they just want to play water every day and build different water teams, and they believe they can do it at the top level. It's important to let them try that. It's important to give them the opportunity to see if they can pull it off, which you absolutely can. And it would be less fun for them if for that one chance a day they had to prove their water team was good. It sucked. And if you run into a lightning wall, just don't attack that day. Just sit back.
Right. No. That was exactly how visipoor under me was. If you remember, there was a person on visipoor, his name is Hacksign. He was literally winning at least one of the titles in all of the PvE raids that we competed against Universe. And kudos to you. You've taken that over. We cannot touch that anymore. That was a wonderful process you had.
We got our one thing.
Right. If you checked on WoTV stats, you can probably pull up his name. His favorite team for most of last year, before 3.0, was Aerith, Aracroft, and Winter Victor. No lie, you can check it right now.
Nobody thinks that team is good. By the way, that team is weird. But did he make it work?
He did not only make it work, he was one of our best hitters. If I needed 6 from him, unless it was Lightning Wall, he would give me that 6. Again, WoTV stats has all his stats in there. A wonderful player, and glad that he could move on in his life.
Yeah, dude, and that's so cool because if you just know what your team can beat, you just go find it. Just go find it. And I think an easy tip, something that I do a lot when I'm let's say I just want to make a team, but I don't have an hour to mock. I'll make a team that just is the team I want, but through gear and espers and things, I will just err more towards, okay, this team would be better against magic than physical. And then if I see the enemies running a dark wall, but it's not completely homogenous, I'll sort by magic and be like, well, 5 of their teams do tilt more magic based. I will take my team into those. And that's an easy way to do something. But if you're like that guy with his Aerith Winter Victoria team, he probably knew exactly what he could beat. And I mean, just like you said, if he could do it every day, that's impressive. And you know what? There you go, Aerith haters. A lot of people still don't think Aerith is good.
Oh, he made it work. And for the longest time, for last year, I ran Katone. Right after, definitely she got her buff, where she had the pseudo courage. I ran her. Got like 7 days, 6s in a row. I mean, that was fun.
Yeah, and that is in-game fun right there, is building a team and then proving it against other players who are at that top level, and you know that their team has 140s, maxed out trust stones, stuff like that. If you can beat those teams, you're like, you have cleared the end game more or less. And then you get to do it again tomorrow. So, yeah.
Again, and that was part of it. It was, again, really having fun, just making the creative juices. There are guilds, maybe even though some in the top 5, they've now said, you run this, you run that, you run that. I'm sure that works for a lot of people. Maybe they have fun. And in, let's say, the reincarnation system, that probably even makes sense because you want those reincarnated units on offense. Again, back before then, it was, you know what, do what you need to do. We can count on the defensive wall to hold, and then just, go at it.
Well, in reincarnation, it will go through the same transformation that EX did. And it's already getting there. Like, when it first came out, there was only a few units that could 140. Sephiroth was this, like, monster. And you just figured you're going to see a whole lot of Sephiroth. He's probably being reincarnated. But now, there's so many 140 units in the game that you'll see teams of 3 140s that you're against. You're like, oh, right, this guy. Yeah, you can 140 this person. I forgot. And there's been enough freebies even given out that not even top spenders have a lot of 140s. Now, fully reincarnated units, that's a whole nother thing. I'm still at 1 UR. I'm talking URs, not Lucio. But, if your Balos of the world, sure, those are cheap to get, those scrolls. But fully reincarnated UR units, even your biggest spenders are at like 2. And so that's just not something that you're seeing a ton of in the game yet.
Right, and I can attest to that. I would like to say that I'm probably one of the bigger spenders in this game. I have 0 outside of Lucio that's fully reincarnated. I've made 40 on Sephiroth, 40 on Bradley. Like key really strong units that, they just get even stronger with reincarnations. But again, we're in a place we can just wait for other units to get their reincarnations to spend. That's right. On.
So I wanted to pivot from there because we're talking about spending a little bit. You and I both went through a very similar life transformation recently, and it's Father's Day today. So I know for me, something that I mentioned before we started recording was previously, before I had a kid, I would make choices like, oh, I could go out to a restaurant tonight and drop 60, 70 bucks, me and the wife. Or we could cook at home, and then that's 60 or 70 bucks that I could spend somewhere else. And I definitely have been lucky enough to both have a YouTube channel that makes me money. I have a professional job, so does my wife. So the money is there. But when I had the kid, it definitely, my spending on games definitely dialed back, because now it's not just me that's getting that experience. It's him. And maybe my son is 2 and he really loves Mexican restaurants. He likes dipping his finger in cheese dip and dipping his finger in guacamole and just going to town. And so now, it might, for the 3 of us, for me, him, and my wife to go out, it might be like $70 or $80, especially if we're getting a drink or something like that. And so that's 70 or 80 bucks that now maybe I don't spend on games. And so how's that been like for you? Because you have a 1.5-year-old now, so happy Father's Day. Just talk about that a little bit. Just give the Father's Day perspective on the game.
Yeah, sure. And I can talk about this in terms of how WoTV has grown or actually got more player-friendly. Year 1, if you may or may not remember, there was no such thing as pity. There were no soul shards. There was only mug medals for certain units. Sometimes you got really unlucky and you could have dropped $500 and barely gotten Lucia, and that's happening.
And we're talking Lucia, like regular gunner Lucia.
Right. Oof. And that happened for way of a long time. Again, for spending, year 1 was actually the most brutal for basically everybody. And that year 1 was kind of where Gumi made most of its money, where they would just, without pity, people kept going and going and going. And then until for that longest time, it was easy for someone to spend $5,000 or even $10,000 in that first year. With 1.0 with the more friendlier banners. It was kind of like the heyday of WoTV. With the pity and all, honestly, spending, maybe you had to buy the $80 pack every other week or so if you've gotten lucky and you saved. And overall, if you counted and add that all up by like 3 years on, some accounts, definitely in visipoor, they have spent over, let's say, $20,000. I am one of those accounts. Again, I don't regret it. I can say that I'm luckily to be in a position where myself and my wife are in a position to fund anything we want to do. This Christmas every day if we want it to be. But to Aaron's perspective, yes, how you want to spend your money is definitely on you. You get fun and enjoy doing what you do. Again, for me in visipoor, it was having 30 pals I can talk with and have fun with on Discord on a day-to-day basis and meme. And War of the Visions was the medium to do that in. If I didn't have it, I would still love to play it and hang out with them doing other things. Could be Diablo, could be Among Us, could be literally anything you want. There's just some people that, you know what, I got to meet and know about them, and I'm sure that's why I still stayed with the game even after having my son. I am in the guild called I'm Retired. It's basically half of the visipoor OGs, where, you know what, we don't mind spending about the game, but we just don't have the time anymore for it, and we'll just do what we need to do and just have fun doing what we need to do.
It's kind of like, and I know this analogy's been thrown out there, but gacha games, live service games like War of the Visions, are more of a club than they are a traditional video game, where sometimes it's fun for a while to buy the VIP room in the club, and you and 30 of your bros are back there kicking it in the VIP room, getting like bottle service, and everybody else is in the just crowded down there on the floor. But eventually, I think with any game, like, I don't know that, like, eventually you do back it off. And I think everybody does. And right now, like, War of the Visions is making, global War of the Visions is at a little bit over $1 million a month on average lately in terms of, like, revenue generated. And all that's out there. You can go look that up. And that's from Sensor Tower. But when it came out, I don't know how much it was making, but I guarantee you it was way more than this.
Yeah.
Like, it was having big months during COVID, especially. And that, like you said, that's the thing. It's important for mobile games to have those huge early months, because that's where the company like Square Enix or Hoyo, if you're talking about Honkai Star Rail, they're like, this game's a hit because the first couple months we were making 30, 40 million dollars, or maybe 20, 10 and 20 in War of the Visions case. And then they can just, all right, we're gonna put more voice actors into the game. We're gonna support different game modes. Even whether you hate them or love them, War of the Visions does come out with a new game mode every once in a while. Right now, the gosh dang it, what's it called? I can never remember. The thing that's really hard to clear. Legendary Reliquaries. Yeah, Reliquaries is a great game mode, and I haven't even cleared the second one yet. I haven't needed the gear, so I haven't put any like pressure on me, but that's tough. That's fun. It's new. It's in-game PvE. And as long as people continue, I think that's something that like free-to-play players need to appreciate, is you are needed. Free-to-play players, you exist in this game, and we need a player base to exist. However, people who spend money on the game, whether it's $20, $100, $1,000, whatever it is, that sends that message to the company that exists to make money. Like, yes, the developers care about making a good game. The developers are paid by the company. So the company cares about, are you making us money with the things you're doing? If not, we're going to lay you off and the game's going to hit end of service. And so I do love that. I encourage anybody who supported this game, hey, look, don't spend money you don't have. But if you're loving War of the Visions and you want to buy visipoor Pack H, buy visipoor Pack H. It's worth it, and it keeps this game alive. So thanks to everybody who does that. That's a weird rant I just went on. Okay.
Right. No, that's wonderful. And again, I would love for this game to grow. I would love for the new player experience to keep on evolving and then having them catch up. I know there's certain players, as you mentioned, I Am the Knight, the person that won the latest auto tournament you casted. He started not too long ago, like less than a year.
January. He started playing the game in January.
Right, and he's doing really well in Reincarnated, which is an affiliate guild of visipoor. And again, he's having fun. He's obviously spent some money, but again, if we can make that experience for him better, because I've seen his vision cards and all, not a lot of them are maxed. Because again, He's missing a lot of limited stuff, but again, he's making work with what he has, and then he's able to compete. And him winning that tournament shows that it's just not who has the most money; it's who's the most innovative, who had the most, standing strategy. And again, what he used with Phoebe, I can talk about for like an hour because that was a wonderful that he posted with Alphonse.
Oh man. Okay, so let's pivot. I want to talk. We've kind of talked about. Okay, let's just talk about Addison Rae for a second. So, how do you feel? But let's just do this first because a lot of people, there are people out there, and I kid you not, who are not collecting Addison Rae from their present box because they don't want her in their unit inventory. So there's everyone from that to people who are just like, oh, this unit looks really cool. It is a good unit. I'm excited and they're free. So I'm going to build them quickly and start using them right away. So there's this whole spectrum from 0 to 100 of Addison Rae feeler. I don't know what word to use. What's your feeling? What's your take on the Addison Rae situation?
Well, I can see as part of a marketing major now, I was in college a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. They're trying to branch out. They're trying to get people that don't play WoTV or people that didn't really play WoTV, or I mean, actually, not in this category, to kind of get new subscribers or new players. Because if you just want to keep doing what Gumi was doing, was just basically just enhancing their offering to existing players, your market's going to strike. What she's trying to do is to bring in people that would never play the game, maybe that played Final Fantasy when they're young, into the world. Maybe they'll fall in love with the game like how I am tonight and other people have, and hopefully get them addicted to it. I can see their marketing strategy, who they chose, totally not my, it's not my choice, and I think they've done what they've done, and I think is actually a good choice because she does have a good following. In terms of units, there's so many videos out that talk about her. I don't want to really get into that. I think she's a great unit. Right now, for me, she's level 89. There's a lot of freebies that will come out. There's 150 shards from the social media event. I'm waiting for those. And when she's at a level where she's 140, and I'll play with her at that time.
Yep. Same. And I hope we get some more of like maybe those summon tickets where you can get some of her shards. Her event is another month. Like her event is out for a whole nother month. So there's no rush here. There's just not a rush.
She's in my barracks. She's in my Choco expeditions. I'll take them as they come. Yeah, it's honestly a breath of fresh air. A lot of us have looked at the meta from JP. We've seen it go from strike to dark to strike to dark, deck to strike. Maybe she'll change this. Who knows?
Who knows? And I do like how one thing that they've done a good job of, and it's not perfect because I don't think there is a perfect way to do this, but the global game is different than the Japanese game in significant ways. It's not totally different. Starlight Elena. She's the perfect example of this. We went through an entire phase in the global meta where Starlight Elena was everything. She was everything. And she was not even released in Japan. So I like when we get something that JP never got because it just shuts up all of the people who, I'm just going to say harp on that fact that like, oh, all we ever have is just 4 months later from JP. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, hello? What? So she's the perfect example of that. But that's just something that, I don't know, random thought I had.
No, that was a great thought. Again, we loved it when she came out, when she was announced. And as the leader of visipoor, I decided which units are wall-worthy. And within like moments of seeing her kit, I walled her. And in visipoor, with all the units that come out, past and present, we don't wall everything. That's just not how we do things. We don't level everything out on day one. We typically just do the daily buys, wait till Sunday for the 40 shards, and hopefully take it from there. But you'll never, ever see from visipoor now or present or future where by day one, if you don't 140 something, you're out of the guild. No, that's never going to happen. So I want to reiterate that, yes, we are Whale Guild, but no, we're not crazy with the whaling.
And there's a couple people who like to do that. And again, if that like I think one thing that's hard for it's hard for me to wrap my mind around this because it's not my life. But there are people who have enough money that hundreds of dollars are almost irrelevant. It's like I just think there's people where a couple $100 to them is like me buying my son a Hot Wheels for $1.99 at Walmart. where I don't even care. Like, it's $2. And so it makes his Walmart experience better. And yes, he has 20 Hot Wheels at home. And you know what? Now he has 21, and he's just this happiest guy in the world for the 35 minutes I'm in Walmart. And that's absolutely worth it. Like, quality of Walmart life. And I think there's people who enjoy they'll just drop a couple $100 on that same level. And like, hey, keep doing it, guys. Thanks. I think that's my, absolutely.
Right. We've been conditioned to trade money for time. So
yeah,
that's what we're doing now.
Worth it every time, by the way.
Right.
There was a little bit of a play on words there, I guess. But as somebody with, I'm going to call my YouTube channel a job, because I treat it like one. I have a lot of fun with it, but I treat it seriously as if it was a job. And so as somebody with a job and a family, any opportunity I have to trade time for money, I'm like, yep. Now, if it's, it depends on the price. Like there are price tags that are too high, but yeah, that's and I think that is a smart thing that mobile game companies figured out. Is there's just a lot of 30-some-year-olds out there that played games when we were younger. Now we have our lives are very full, and we can't devote endless nights to World of Warcraft leveling like we could when we were in college. So instead, we'll spend $100 to cut a week of that time away. And that's great. I don't mind that at all.
Totally agreed. Again, yeah, just to mirror your experiences, I played a lot of World of Warcraft in college as well. Kind of took a damper to my life. And also a lot of the Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Diablo 2 mainly. Diablo 3 came out much later. But we were at a time where my Diablo 4 account, right now, I'm level 7. I just don't have that kind of time anymore.
Yes.
I have a kid, we have jobs. I mean, if I can spend a few bucks to speed it up and just get my enjoyment, yes, it's actually worth it.
Yep. And like, yeah, and I think that's important. It really is, because the world is a very busy place. And like we were talking about off stream, so like today, and I'll just tell the story again, like after we're done recording this, I'm not going to edit it straight away because my son wants to go to Walmart. He wants to go to Walmart. He lost a certain truck of his, and he's 2, so he doesn't communicate perfectly, but he knows he got it at Walmart. It was like $2. And so I'm going to load him up in the car. We're going to go to Walmart. I'm going to grocery shop while I'm there. He's going to get his truck again, and that's going to be the afternoon. And that's a very like special experience. It's nothing great, but I don't want to miss that to work. And so if I can, yeah, so I don't know, just stuff like that. Your priorities change a lot when you have kids. That's just true.
Yeah, totally is. Again, why I've stepped back away and no longer leading visipoor. My son is number 1, my wife is number 2, and my job is number 3 because it supports the first 2. This is how it is. The time for me to mock and then just lead the guild is almost non-existent. And I'm glad that there was right people in place to kind of take that over from me because, again, family first.
Definitely. All right. Well, hey, we're approaching that 30-minute mark, and I don't want these things to go over 30 minutes. So do you have any final thoughts? Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Anything? Any parting words?
Yeah. Well, thank you for everyone for listening. Hopefully I can share more experience with you here or anywhere else. Shout out to visipoor and I'm retired and a bunch of people that I've met, friends along the way. War Visions is a great game. Please enjoy this at your own time, pace, and spend. There's always a place for all of you, and I'm glad to be able to talk to you all today.
Awesome. Well, Quistist, thank you for stopping by. We're gonna end it there. So, guys, thanks for watching, and have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, RJ.
No problem. Peace.